So basically, you got a job in Kenya at a diaspora conference. You
at the
met.
diaspora conference.
Moving back home to Kenya has been a dream that most diaspora Kenyans in the US have been aspiring to. And a lot of time and preparation has been going towards the vision of enjoying life back home. We've had a ton of success stories of diasporans that relocated back home, but we rarely talk about the challenges and realities that this reverse migration comes with. Now, before we get started, Udi, a quick comment here coming from Esther. Esther says, I lived in Kenya for two straight years during COVID, and I loved it. I was in the village, and it was like heaven. If I had good money, I would not have returned to the US. I am an economic refugee who only left because of bad leadership back home, which directly affects people's lives. That's very interesting coming from Esther Mulusa. And of course, part of the reason why people are leaving is because of poor leadership. But we're gonna kick things off with you, Udi, with your story, and maybe for just people, maybe most people who are tuned in, are not aware. Where did your journey begin, and maybe what led you make the move back to Kenya? So just give us the story from the beginning, from when you came to the US, how long you are here, and what made you move to Kenya. Udi, twende kazi.
Okay, so I moved here when I was 20 years old. Came to college.
Okay.
Started my career.
Okay.
And then I always wanted to move back home. But then when my career started, it just, time goes by. And then got an opportunity to move back home after the diaspora conference.
Now, when you talk about diaspora conference, we've had multiple diaspora conferences. So maybe you can start as what year did you come to the US, so that people can get perspective how long you'd lived here before you exited. Udi.
So I came 2000 in January.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
The new millennium.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then from when you came in, were you coming here? Did you start working right away, or did you first go to college? Take us from that journey. Get us started from there. Before.
No, I came straight to college.
Okay. All right.
So
Go ahead.
I was working part-time, but I came straight to college. And I was a transfer from Catholic University to Towson.
Okay, so you're talking about Catholic University of East Africa. The one on the way to Rongai.
Yes.
Okay. All right, fair enough. So, and then you went to Towson.
So
Yeah.
how was that? Like, when you said you're a transfer, does that mean that you basically, your credits from CUAE came this way? Did all of them come this way, or you just got partial, or how did that work out?
Most of my credits did get transferred to Towson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, good.
So I ended up being a third year at Towson.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. So then take us now from when you graduated from Towson all the way to now to what you mentioned, the diaspora conference. So just give us a brief synopsis of maybe what you were doing, during that particular period of time leading up to the diaspora conference that you talked about. Udi.
So I graduated, I did my MBA at University of Baltimore.
Okay.
Was working with public accounting.
Okay.
So I worked with a couple of the big accounting firms. And then when I went for the diaspora conference, got an opportunity to be able to get a job offer.
Okay. What year was
Kenya.
this? What year was this when you went for this diaspora conference, Udi?
2011.
Okay. All right. Now, what happened during this diaspora conference?
It was just, I I would say luck, because I actually wasn't planning to go for it, to be honest.
Okay.
If it was Actually, it was one Mike who actually picked me up and said, "Let's go."
So just to provide context, the Diaspora Conference was a conference that was organized by the Kenyan Embassy.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so what happened was big companies would come in. So ideally, they're coming in to more or less, you can say they're coming in to sell their wares, to pitch, and then Kenyans would be invited. And I think it was, who was it? Was it either Odembo or Jean Kamau? At that
Must
point
have
in
been
time?
Odembo. I
No,
think.
at that
It was
time, I
Odembo,
think
right?
it must have been Ambassador Elkanah Odembo.
Elkanah.
it
Yeah,
was
it was
Odembo.
around that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So ideally, and I think even we emceed some
Who
some
is we?
small
Speak we.
we Ali.
Yes.
This was in, I think this was in Crystal City in,
in VA.
Virginia.
In VA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So on that first one is when like, hey, Udi, Lebu, let's go.
So was this the first one?
The very first one.
This was the first one.
The first one.
So
yeah.
they were.
That
very
was
first
the
one. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead,
it
Udi.
was the first one. I actually didn't even want to go, but one Humphrey basically said, "Let's go." He actually came to pick me up
Okay.
and said, "We go."
Okay.
And I said, "Okay, let's go."
That's when you should have
And-
said where.
And I just went there, and I wasn't even prepared. Then I just put on my suit, just went, and
So how?
the irony,
Yes. Go ahead, Udi.
the irony is, when I went there is when I met the CFO of a multinational company that were looking for people to relocate to Kenya and Africa.
Okay.
So he gave me his card, and I said, "I'll send you my resume." And I sent him my resume the next day, which was forwarded now to HR.
Okay.
So it was just luck.
Okay.
Wow.
So basically, you got a job in Kenya at a diaspora conference. You
At the diaspora conference.
Yeah. So you met
through his network connection at a diaspora conference. Let's put it that way.
Is it through someone you just met?
No,
This
it's the
person you got it.
CFO.
Was it someone you knew from before, or you just
No.
met them at the diaspora conference?
I met them at the diaspora conference.
Okay. So these diaspora conferences actually they work.
They actually work.
Yeah.
Now, back then, especially like the first, I think I'd say the first 3 or so, they companies from Kenya or that operated in Kenya, it's almost like they were coming here to get returnees, as we would say, or sisi watu wa diaspora, to go back
Yes.
home, to move home and actually work at home. So you would find big names. You know, I'll try and throw some names out there. Let's say hypothetically Microsoft. Maybe you have there was, you know, Google wasn't, you know, big then, but you know,
Yeah.
you would have like some of the companies that the multinational companies that operate in Kenya were actually recruiting from here to get Kenyans to move back.
Okay.
And so having this platform was actually very good for them. And some of them were even sponsors of that whole entire thing. So it wasn't only just like, say, Kenya Gava / the embassy or through the embassy coordinated, but they had other folks who were there. And Woody was, I would guess to say, one of those people who was kind of almost in a way given an interview on the spot and then brought his resume in. And there are stories like Woody's for people who are doing that from those conferences.
And I would actually like to say, you know, it's, you know, the company is General Electric. That's the one that actually took me to Kenya.
Okay. So you moved back to Kenya to work for General Electric. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's a very interesting point, because I think this is now kind of like the turning point of your story. And you know, like this was now your first time. What year was this that you were moving back to Kenya?
I moved in 2012.
Yeah.
2012. Okay, so you came in 2000, and then after 12 years, you are now moving back to Kenya because you found a job with General Electric, and it was it was kind of like your first time relocating back to Kenya after coming to America. Now, my key question is: many in the diaspora contemplate the move back. I mean, of course, for you, you were moving, not to get started. You're moving because you found a job, and people have different reasons why they move back. Take us back to when you moved back, because most of us have the experience of traveling back to Kenya, back and forth. Like I'll give an example. In the 20 years that I've been in the US, the most I have stayed in Kenya is 6 weeks. I have never been in Kenya for more than 6 weeks.
So how are you? How do you call yourself a Kenyan? And no wonder you people are called bunnies. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but even that, before he answers that, I just wanted to know how was he feeling? There's a feeling, that did he long to go back? Was it something that he was looking forward to because he was sick and tired of America?
Yeah, or was it just happenstance, Udi?
So the challenge. Well, it wasn't a challenge. The one thing about me is that I used to go home every year from the time that I actually came here for college. So for 12 years, so we're talking from when I came here like 2000 up to 2012, every year I used to be there for 3 weeks. Yes, I was a summer bunny or winter bunny, depending on the time I would go. But every year I used to go. So it was not a challenge for me. But then you have to realize relocating is a different thing.
Okay. Talk to us about that. What do you mean it's a different thing?
You have to look at it when you have kids. Where do you actually take them to school? Where are you going to live? So those are things I had to think about.
Okay, so now, like this is now a new part to the audiences that are listening. So by the time you were relocating to Kenya, you already had a family over here in the United States. So you were relocating back with your family and not by yourself. Is that correct, Udi? Are we getting you right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
that's even harder.
Yeah. So now, even before we get to the part of the family, because that's an added layer of complication. There are those people who are relocating and they just move by themselves. But now here there's an added layer of complication of a family. But now, before we get to that added layer of complication, what are just some of the, like the assumptions or maybe uncertainties that those of us who've not relocated back will catch us by surprise? As in, what caught you by surprise, after being a summer bunny for 12 years, and then now here you are back in Kenya. Now, outside the family part, what generally just caught you by surprise when you returned back?
Gari. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
To me, was trying to figure out a lot of stuff with regarding to where the kid's gonna go to school, getting the help, getting there's so many things that in Kenya that you just can't even be able to organize. Getting my wife to be able to drive around. Those are things that just took time, right?
And but even before that, I just wanted to know, what was your motivation? You see, the thing is, we all have dreams of wanting to go back home, but there's always going to be something that pushes you to the edge. Like, one thing for me, especially as you say you have children, you think about, the school system here. You know, they could be different kind of shootings and all this kind of stuff. There's always something that, you know, it's a turn off to living in this country that you're like, you know, I'm ready to go. So was your motivation just the job? Because I'm thinking it must be more than the job. Was it family that is home? What was the driving
No,
force
I
there?
think, you know, Anna, that's a very good question. And
Mhm.
I'll be honest and say it was a selfish motivation of me trying to go back home,
Mhm.
right? Trying to go back and
Why
live
selfish? Because you didn't think
you
of
know,
the family.
you know, not even, you know, sometimes it's the Kenyan life.
Mhm.
You know, I can be able to go out every time. So I miss that,
Okay, the soft life.
the soft life.
Okay.
So I miss that, and it was selfish on me.